Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. Today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, I have another exciting It's the Bread story to share with you all. My guest today is Vickie Weir. I met Vickie after a recent class at Bread Beckers. With tears in her eyes, she came up after class to speak to me and to share with me just a small part of her It's the Bread story. What she showed me in pictures, her before and after journey, what a journey it's been. Vickie came all the way from Texas to take a couple of classes at Bread Beckers, even staying in town for a week to actually catch both a Just the Basics class and a sourdough class. Her downtime while being in Woodstock, I knew I had to get her on the podcast. So Vickie, welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes, and thank you for sharing your little bit of your story with me. I can't wait to hear the rest. But before we dive in, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, your family, what part of Texas you're from, anything you want to tell us.
Sure. Thanks so much, Sue. And I'm so honored to be here. And I never in a million years would ever have pictured myself sitting with someone advocating for eating bread after, what has happened to me over the last 20 years. So this is absolutely just incredible. And I feel quite honored that you asked me to be here today.
Well, I'm so glad.
So our lives are kind of strange to start with. We've been living in an RV for the past, this September will be 13 years. My friends and family.
Oh my goodness, that's a long time.
It is. Well, I'm kind of referred to as a gypsy. I don't like putting down roots, and I don't like being in the same place for a long time. So it serves the purpose of that. But in times of trouble, it's a little bit difficult or to solve issues when they come up when you're on the road. But we never had any of those issues up until fairly recently in the last couple of years. So we just kind of travel around the countryside. In the very beginning, we were very excited about traveling, and we moved, every couple of weeks. And I really like that. And it's only been the last couple of years where we've sort of settled down. We spend more time in a destination, and time in one destination now is not so much fun, but whatever.
You're basically settled in Texas somewhere, right?
Well, the whole scheme of full time is that in the summertime, if you're smart, you are not in places like Florida and Texas. You're somewhere north where it's cooler. And then in the flip in the winter, then you snowbird and you go back to those places and spend the winter down there to stay warm. So that's usually what the plan is. We're actually on our way to go camp host in Idaho, which we've never been to Idaho before. So that's going to be totally different.
Yeah. So are you in your RV this week or so that you've been here in Georgia to come to classes?
Yeah, I haul my house with me everywhere I go.
I love it. I love it. That's great. So it's you and your husband? Are you married?
Yeah, and my little dog. My little dog, Wally.
Little dog.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Do you have any children?
All grown up, and they're actually all back in Canada. All of our family is up in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a dual citizen, and my husband is Canadian. So we left Canada in 2021 and decided to make the U.S. our home.
Wow. Well, welcome to the United States.
Well, thank
welcome
you.
to Georgia.
I know. I love it.
Some cold weather came with you that we weren't expecting, but hey, it's supposed to be 80 by the weekend. So what can I say?
Thank
30
goodness.
Today, 80 tomorrow. You just never know in Georgia. But you shared with me, you've had quite a health journey going on for a few years now, I think. When did all this start for you? And explain a little bit about what's going on.
Well, I guess at the height of it, it started in January of 2024. But looking back on the journey since January 2024 to present day, I can see now how everything was kind of starting to unravel decades beforehand. And it's been an incredible learning journey of my own personal health challenges that a lot of it I discounted because I didn't know, or integrative, functional, naturopathic, allopathic doctors, were scratching their heads. But it wasn't until this very recent development where it's if I would have heard my story from someone else, I probably would have said that person is certifiable, because it just goes beyond any comprehension. And in January of 2024, there was a number of us that were bitten by. Texas has huge mosquitoes. I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called lion mosquitoes. That might be incorrect, but we were out one night and there was about 5 of us sitting outside by the fire, and we just got attacked. And, I'd never had a mosquito bite before in my life, but I definitely had welts from these guys and just sort of discounted it. And going back on pictures now, I can see where those mosquito bites never actually healed. And fast forward to July of that year, the one leg, it was getting quite bad. We were in Tennessee by this time doing another work camp posting at a really, really busy RV park. And I was going full tilt boogie. I'm type A and I don't sit down, and I just go like a boomerang, running, jumping, and I just never stopped. And July, I had to start wearing pants because something was going super crazy with my legs. And then again, fast forward to September of 2024, my health problems were escalating, but something had happened around that time where I went down really hard. I was having issues with breathing. My legs were now covered. It was starting to spread up my thighs. My husband was getting incredibly sick. Even our little dog, he was starting to lose patches of hair. So something was amiss, and I was somewhat suspicious of it's a man-made lake that we were on. And some other people had reported some health problems, and I'm very acutely aware to those types of things. My background is that I'm actually a holistic nutritionalist, and I just love all things healthy. Everything is organic, nothing chemical laden is in my house. My pantries are bare because I cook everything fresh.
Yeah.
We don't eat out. We don't eat fast food. When it comes to healthy, I'm so probably off the charts with it a little bit, just because of previous health problems. And that's why this was so frustrating for me, because I had the cleanest diet of anybody that I knew, but yet I was just getting so incredibly sick. So September 18th was the actual date when I just almost ceased to exist, where I blew up like a balloon. I was gasping for air. My legs I now had severe edema in both of my legs. I was having to Band-Aid. I, at one point, went into urgent care. My blood pressure she thought I was having a heart attack, but she said she couldn't give me anything because my blood pressure was too high. And she just told me, oh, when you go back to Texas, you better get a good cardiologist, and a dermatologist should look at your leg. And she sent me home.
Wow. That was September 2024.
Yes.
Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I was taking Benadryl, trying to get things under control by myself. And I hadn't had an OTC probably in 15 years. So this was I was in foreign territory. But I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. You're desperate.
When you're having my throat was closing. Like I was having, I guess, something similar to anaphylactic shock, but nobody would help me or knew what to do, right? The leg thing,
right?
really, I kind of sort of compare it to the lepers in the Bible, where
Yeah.
people would look at my leg and they would literally cringe and be disgusted. Some of the looks on some of the doctor's face had been looks of disgust. So
Yeah. Well, when you showed me the pictures the other day, that's exactly, I was like, the only thing I can think of is leprosy. It was
yeah,
so excruciatingly painful to even look at the pictures. I cannot imagine looking at it in person. So, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
no, that's okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So September 18th is when things really went downhill really fast for me. October, I still was trying to persevere and work, but I was having to take some days off because the edema in my legs was getting so awful, and already the skin cracking was inches deep. Like, oh my gosh. And then finally, November, Thanksgiving, that next month, I just told my husband, I said, I don't know that I can stay here. I says, I'm not sure how many more days I have left on this earth. I said, something is really seriously wrong. So we packed up and we rushed back to Texas because there was an alternative clinic that said that they could help me. And they had me do some preliminary tests, and already it was coming back that they only had tested me for a few toxins, but those levels were already coming back pretty high. When I got there, they checked me for hypoxia, and they immediately had to put me on oxygen. And I've been the everything just got worse and worse and worse. And the more that people were putting supplements into me and IVs into me, everything just got worse and worse, to the point where, oh my gosh, I think I've been to probably about 10 doctors, 10 clinics of every size, shape, and form. And it's just been a crazy journey. But near the end there, probably in January of 2025, the pain was so excruciating 24/7. I never got a break from it at all. And there was nothing I could think of to put on anything that would stop the hives and whatever the crazy stuff that was going on with my legs. Even to this day, I still cannot explain it. But I would go to bed most nights and either not sleep at all because of the pain, or I would just beg God to just take me, that I was ready. I couldn't fathom like another day of putting up with what I was having to put up with absolutely no one that knew what to do with me, because no one had a clue. I found another integrative doctor in Florida that he said that he promised that he could help me. So we packed up and pulled our house to Florida. He did immediately a really incredible panel of it's called a total tox burden, and they test for like 87 toxins everywhere, everything from mycotoxins, heavy metals, and environmental toxins. And when my results came back, for the mycotoxins, I had 18 of 29 that weren't even measurable. They were so high, and 13 of them were measurable. For the heavy metals, I had 11 out of 20 heavy metals that were not measurable. They were so high, and 8 of them that were measurable. They were manageable levels, but they're heavy metals that shouldn't be in anyone's body. And then for my environmental toxins, they test for 38 environmental toxins. 20 of them were off the charts, not measurable, and 21 of them were in levels which they consider to be, low,
Dangerous.
but still dangerous, because, God didn't intend for any of these things to be in our bodies. And so and also too, I had been confirmed positive for Borrelia, Babesia, and Bartonella, which is the good old Lyme disease, which hadn't even crossed my mind. And so that journey ended very quickly, though, with him, because he wanted us to sign a contract that we had to sell our house, which is our RV, because air testing had picked up some of the mycotoxins in it, which everybody has mycotoxins in their home. Everybody.
Right. Yeah.
You just can't get away from it. But he wasn't willing to treat me until we sold it. So we carried on our little journey, found another place in Florida, and long story short, I'll try to make this really short, is that I've always done everything alternative, and at that point, I had a 36-inch pick in my arm that went to my heart, and I was getting IVs 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, and getting sicker by the minute. I was having anaphylactic shock symptoms again, air gasping. I was ballooning up, hiving up. And I was just, my hair was falling out in chunks. Yeah, I had high blood pressure. I'd been diagnosed with liver disease, kidney disease, adrenal stress, heart and cardiovascular. I was pre-diabetic, high cholesterol, B deficient, B12.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah,
You're
low
like,
and
shoot me now. Just shoot
right.
me now.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Low anemic. Always anemic. My A1C was through the roof. My D dimer, Epstein Barr, H pylori, and then confirmed toxic A. My toxic A was off the charts, and I was just weeping because I kept telling the doctor, I says, this is killing me. I can't do this anymore. So I had them take out my PICC line. I quit taking all the supplements, and then I started to take matters into my own hands. Oh, the last part of that diagnosis too, I have brain cancer at the base of my skull too, from all of the inflammation that this has caused. So a lot was going on. I wasn't getting any of the answers. I was only getting sicker. So I took matters into my own hands, had my PICC removed. I stopped all of my supplements when I started to read ingredient labels, and I saw some of the levels of, vitamin A that I was taking, like 100,000+ units a day. Like, that's just crazy. So anyways, I could speak on that for hours, but I won't. So that was September of 2025. I did a complete cease and desist of everything. And I found another doctor, because I'm going, this is not making sense. I had in 2023 another naturopath who had done epigenetic testing on me. And if you're familiar with that, so you probably are, because the Krebs cycle and all of that, but epigenetic testing, very, very extensive. I have like MTHFR, both parents donated bad genes to me. But it was the detoxification pathways in my DNA where a good portion of my gene SNPs are either not working at all or broken. And so what was happening is that all of these folks that were detoxing me, the toxins were coming out, and they're just happily floating or going wherever they were going and just wreaking complete chaos. And unfortunately, normal detoxing wasn't going to work. So I had found this other doctor where he does what's called total plasma exchange, where they remove half of your blood, centrifuge it, take out the plasma where the toxins are, throw it out, and they give you clean albumin. And that was like a pretty big game changer for me, because by that point, that was in September, I couldn't even think. I couldn't remember my name. I couldn't form sentences. I had like such severe brain fog. It was unbelievable. So I started doing monthly TPE programs, and, saw some noticeable changes. And it wasn't until, I think it was like late November, I was getting really frustrated because my legs were healing, but so incredibly painful that it was even horrible to wear pants, because if it just brushed, if the material brushed on the eruptions. Oh my gosh, so in bed and walking around and everything. And I was just so frustrated. And everything always happens for a reason. And every step along this journey, someone has reached out to me and said, "Hey, Vickie, have you ever thought of this?" And then they would send me something, and, I would research it. And go, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
someone, a friend in Florida at the end of November said, "Hey, Vickie, I just found this about this fresh mill bread." And I'm going, I don't even know what that is. Because, for 20 plus years, my doctors have all said, "Vickie, you have to be gluten free. Gluten is bad. Bread is bad. It's
Yeah.
inflammatory, blah, blah, blah." Right.
Yeah.
And like I told you, I bought it hook, line, and sinker. And, and it's just terrible.
Yeah.
So I started watching the video that she had sent me, and I'm going, oh, gee, this is just another fad. but but you got to the part about the history, and you had me hook, line, and sinker because I really resonate with that, with the history and with the steel mills, with them, the separating out the brand and the germ, or brand and the germ. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this just makes too much sense. And then when you reference the Bible, I'm going, oh my gosh, again.
Yes. And it's just crazy, isn't it? Because I was in, the food industry and all that. And when you see it, when you know, and that's all I can say. It just, you're like, oh my goodness, how come I didn't figure this out before?
Wow. And how come so many people aren't figuring it out? But we have Sue now. So I just went all in. I started binge watching you. I think I've watched every YouTube video. I've watched Getting Started probably about 10, 15 times. The basics one I've watched a lot. And my husband says, "Well, why are you going to that class? You don't need to. You watched it so much."
You could probably teach it.
But I tell you, I went last week and I'm going, wow, I just picked up another tip.
Right? Yay. Very good.
Oh my gosh. I just love it.
So you just jumped in making and eating bread. And did you find it a difficult transition, or you were just so excited?
I was super excited. I ordered my mill. I was disappointed because the Wonder Mills were on back order till January, and I really wanted to get started. So I ended up getting the Nutrimel Impact, and I got it on the 16th of December. And then I feel like I can understand what your mom was saying, because I kind of just stood there and I stared at it for like 3 days. And I'm going, I am so scared of this meal, and I am so scared of yeast. I have never touched yeast in my life. I don't know how to bake with it. And I did. I just stared at it, and I just put it on the counter, and I just finally one day said, I can do this. And the first loaf I made was absolutely perfect.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness. That makes me so happy.
Oh my gosh. And my husband and I, we just devoured it, and then I just went crazy. And it was really funny because I think it's like some of your other guests have said, I was so happy, I wasn't having any, usually with store bought, or if I would go to a restaurant and I would have unmistakably consume something that had flour in it, it hits me hard and fast, like instant gut wrenching pain. My scalp starts itching, and it can last for days. So I was so over the top excited that I wasn't experiencing any of that at all. And then it was probably about 7 days in, maybe 8, that I noticed. I looked at my leg and I'm going, well, that is really strange. How come that thing isn't hurting anymore? And you know what, Sue?
Oh my goodness, 7 days.
Yeah, it was like almost gone. And the two ones that were really plaguing me a lot are, one of them is pretty much gone, and the other one is like, I'd say 80% gone. My legs almost appear somewhat normal. I'm not sure what normal is anymore. But the energy that I have, my hair is starting to grow like crazy, because I lost like probably 60, 70% of my hair the last 2 years for no good reason other than the high toxic levels. Now I have all these little hairs sprouting all over the place. I look quite ridiculous, but I'm just so happy I can grow hair again.
No, you don't. I would have never guessed you've been this sick for so long.
Yeah.
Never guessed.
Well, I just celebrated my 59th birthday last weekend, and I feel like I'll say 30 or younger. If you would have asked me March of 2025 for my birthday, how old I felt, I would have said 150. Like, it's just
My goodness.
the bread has given me so much energy. I can't even describe it.
That's amazing. And so December 2025. So December, January, February, March. So basically 3 months.
Yeah, a little bit shy of that because I was, I can't remember when I got my grain, but I would say I started really milling in the beginning of January. So
Yeah, because you stared at it for a little while.
I did, yeah. And I had to get everything all together and everything, but
Yeah.
I would say I'm probably in 2 months now, and I'm flabbergasted that I'm getting this amazing of results so quickly. My body is probably just going, "Oh, thank you, thank you."
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's an amazing detoxifier as well. The fibers in bread and grains, the bran fiber, is known to absorb toxins and get them out of your body.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm just, folks, I know it's hard to imagine without seeing the pictures Vickie showed me, but let me just tell you, I've never seen anything like it. When she showed me the raw skin on her legs was painful to even look at in the pictures. And I cannot imagine living with that pain. And it actually, Vickie, when you showed me those pictures and told me that there were moments where you were just like, Lord, can I just die? Just take me home. It reminded me of a story of a young man, much younger than you and I. And unbeknownst to me, I spoke at a conference in Missouri and his wife was there. She bought the mill and the mixer and started making bread. And a few months later, they actually came to Atlanta for some reason and they came to class. And this young man came up to me and he said, "Can I hug you?" And I'm like, "Sure. Yeah, go ahead. What's up?" And he told me, describing very similar to you, but he had it all over his body, a rash all over his body. He said, it felt like fire ants were stinging me.
Yes.
And he said, doctor after doctor, and no one could figure out exactly what was happening. He goes, all they would do was give me steroids. And but then I'd be fine for a while, but then it would all flare up. And he said, at the point when my wife came home with that mill, we didn't think anything about it. And he goes, all I can tell you is within 6 months, I'm completely clear. There's not a rash on me and I have my life back. And so that's the first thing I thought of when you shared those pictures with me and told me your story. And it's just truly remarkable. So, and then the energy, the hair growing and just feeling alive again. Isn't that wonderful?
Oh, it's so amazing. I wish there was some way of measuring the change to show people and say, hey, just try this. Please, please, please just try this. Don't keep eating that dead bread.
Yeah. And it's delicious,
I know.
It's like, we're not telling you to try some nastiness that you have to hold your nose to swallow. We're talking bread and cinnamon rolls and muffins and pancakes. Come on.
I know.
Oh, man. That is so great. Yours is truly a remarkable story in the short time. And I'm just praising God with you. And I'm just so thankful that you stood in line to speak to me after class and that you were willing to come on today and share your story. So I just praise God for the healing that you found. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Anything we missed in your story?
I don't know. I don't think so. Just that, I just really advocate for people to do their own research. Really, really do your own research on things.
Yeah.
And I guess through this whole journey, I've been promised that, everything was going to be uniquely made for me and my body. But, now when I look back over the last year of some of these unique protocols and stuff that were going to be for me to help me, everybody else is doing them too. So I'm very skeptical about protocols, unique ones, and fads. Fads have really stuck out bad for me for the last year, and they just seem to be taking on a kind of a life of their own too. And I just caution people, do research, don't just necessarily jump on a protocol with, supplements or IVs or anything without doing some really good research
Yeah.
with some really trusted folk that maybe they're not saying the same thing as everybody else, and there's not anything wrong with that. And
Yeah.
then of course dive deep into the bread. I
Yeah.
can't. I really, honestly,
Yes.
I owe you a debt of gratitude for the rest of my life, Sue. It's just absolutely amazing, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And did they ever determine what caused? I mean, do you think it traces back to the mosquito bites or a tick bite or the lake or
All the above.
all of the above?
The doctor that's doing my TPEs once a month, he said I'm so burdened with toxins, that
Yeah.
the toxins are everywhere. They're in my liver, kidneys, head, heart, just everywhere. Them and the lime. And lime is a great imitator as well.
Yeah.
I've had to learn
Yeah.
so much about lime on my own as well, doing a ton of research and reading. And I'm not sure that I'll ever be able to get rid of those guys completely because they are really super sneaky. But in time, I've had to really tamp down my anxiousness and my fear and give it up to God
Yeah.
that He's going to take
He's
care of me.
got
He didn't
Yes.
put me on this journey for nothing. There was many times where I questioned why He'd given me the knowledge and the love and passion of helping people, but I was
Yeah.
dying before his eyes, and it never made sense. But I think I was just, I was fearful and anxious and expecting results overnight, and these things didn't happen to me overnight. They've been happening and building up
For quite a while. Yeah.
for decades. And like the analogy that I think I used with you is that my bathtub in September of 2024, it just started overflowing bad.
Yes. It was full to overflowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's
So-
all of those things.
Tell me, TPE, tell the listeners what that stands for.
It's total plasma exchange.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah. It's kind of like they pull in one arm, there's an IV that takes out 50% of your blood based on your height and weight. It goes through a really unique centrifuge system where the plasma is brought out and goes into a disposal bag. And that's where all the toxins are. So then what they do is they put your blood back with clean albumin. And it takes about roughly a month for homeostasis to come back to your body because they've just pulled out a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
What he had me do here just recently is I've had 3 total tox burden tests done. First one was in January of 2025. I had another one in July and another one just done in January of 2026. And we've only managed to reduce my total tox burden levels by 25%. So it's going to be, somewhat of a long haul.
Yeah. Be interesting to see your next test.
I know.
That's going to be interesting. I want you to tell me. I want you to keep up with me.
Yeah.
Keep posted.
Well,
That's
I
going to be very,
will.
very interesting because if you've seen this much help with your skin, because your skin is a detoxifying
Yes.
organ, and that's going to be very interesting to see. So, but you had been doing these for quite a while, right? Before you started the bread.
The TP,
TPEs.
well, only 3 months prior to. Only
Okay.
3 months prior to. And like I say, I've had 5 now, and after the 4th one, he rechecked me, and like I say, we've only reduced my burden by 25%. So
Yeah.
it's some of the other things, like my blood pressure. I monitor my blood pressure, like it was horrifically high. And things that shouldn't have been, because there was like having high cholesterol when I'm not anymore. I've changed all that in the last year, but I was like full blown vegan. And I now eat meat, but I'm very careful about where I get it from and stuff. But having
Yeah.
high blood pressure and cholesterol. It was off the charts. I was like, someone needs to explain this to me. But, he did. He says, well, when you are this full of this many dangerous
Yeah.
toxins, lots of them are binding to receptors, and they're wreaking havoc, in every system of your body.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would definitely suggest in this day and age, that, people find a doctor that really supports having these total tox burden tests done, because so many health problems too can definitely now be pointed back to the toxins that we're just getting
We're
full on
exposed to.
assaulted with. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the one I do, they can actually, they'll say, oh, this came from a lake, or, this came from here, or this came from here, right? So it's not really guessing. They know where it's coming from.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. But wow, but just, and it's like I tell people, I'll get emails a lot going, I have this issue. Do you think the bread will help that? And I'm like, I don't know, but what I can tell you is that I think it will only improve your quality of life. Will it completely reverse what you're going through? You still got a ways to go, but my goodness, it's given you back your life. In 7 days, it started giving you back your life, your hair, your energy, your skin, healing. That is got to be an indication of what other healing is going on in your body. So that's exciting to me, because your skin is a big indicator that something's going on.
It is. Yeah. You're right. It's the biggest organ in the body. So
yeah. Now, let me ask you this, because I know I get asked a lot. People will send emails and like, I'm eating the bread and I've just had a terrible reaction, stomach pain and all of that. Did you have any issues with starting the bread? Did you have to take it slow, or did you just jump in and start eating it?
Well, I have to admit here, when I made that first loaf of bread, and my husband and I pretty much made it disappear in less than 24 hours, and I didn't have any issues, like none. So then for me, that was like a green flag to start making cinnamon buns, cookies, and I just went a little crazy. I went off the deep end for a few days, and then I, was kind of consuming. I know I was consuming way too much. Too many treats.
You felt better. You
yeah.
Okay, maybe
I did.
You did that. I call it front loading.
Oh yeah. Well, and all my endorphins were happy, and so. Yeah. But I did gain quite quickly, about 10 pounds. So I've backed off quite a bit, and I still feel phenomenal. This is another side note, is that for the last 2 years, I haven't been able to do any of my regular exercising. Like, I love hiking, running, walking, everything. And I literally could do nothing. I couldn't even sit in a chair, and I'm getting back to doing all of those things again. And I totally attribute that to the bread, because I just feel like it's like I have electricity in my body now, and I just can hardly contain myself, and I don't want to sit anymore. I have so much energy.
That is great. You've got your life back.
I know. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. Wow. I always love, before we close, I love to let my guests share any words of encouragement or advice you would like to leave with our listeners today. Anything you feel that God has put on your heart.
I guess for me, the biggest thing would be, is if there's any other folk that are in similar situations, is just don't give up. Don't give up hope.
Right.
Just do your best to, learn some different things, try the bread, maybe if it doesn't work right away, put it aside. Just try different things. Don't do what everyone else is doing. You're a unique and beautiful person that God has made. It doesn't mean that whatever I did, it's going to work for you, or down the road, but don't give up hope. Please don't give up hope. We're all here for a purpose.
Yeah. Yes, that is absolutely correct. And even like you, I mean, you've seen some great results. You've still got a ways to go. So that's my word of encouragement too, is don't give up on the bread. Don't think it's the end all and the be all, but it is certainly very powerful, so full of nutritional benefits, and the nutrients and the fiber and the protein and the carbs that it provides are pretty amazing. So don't give up, keep going, and see where God leads you. And Vickie, just
Absolutely.
thank you again for taking the time to share your story. It has been just wonderful to talk with you. And I could not stop thinking about you since
Oh,
Thursday of last week when
oh my
and all the
gosh.
misery and pain you went through. My heart just, I'm so thankful that you found healing and that God brought you to this place, to Real Bread, and continue the journey and make God continue to heal and bless you. And
Oh,
just thank you so much for being on today.
well, I just thank God that He brought me to you, Sue. Like I say, I'm forever grateful for everything that I've learned from you, and you've given me the courage to try something that I never would have thought was possible, and to see the results of that. So you're an incredible woman, and God bless everything that you do.
Thank you so much. I love what I do. I believe in what I do. I haven't changed in all these 35 years of teaching. It's the same message. So I'm just very thankful that I can hear from people like you where the bread has changed your life. So thank you. And to all who are listening today, may you be encouraged today and every day. And until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated, located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.